Good evening and welcome to the August 24th meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. Before we get started, just a couple of things. Electronic devices and cell phones, if you'd silence them or turn them off, it'd be greatly appreciated. Also, if you're here to speak on any of the applications, and we encourage you to do so, we just ask that you take the podium, speak into the microphone, because we are being recorded by FCTV tonight. And if you leave the podium, take the mic with you. Okay, first up is minutes. On the agenda is minutes of the July 18, 2016, 3 o'clock or 3 p.m. meeting.
I did read those. Let me just get them.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have my copy with me, but I read them at home, and I found them to be fine, but I thought we had already approved those minutes.
We were missing one person to vote.
Betsy.
I think it was
Oh, okay.
because Betsy was on vacation.
Okay, that makes some sense.
Mary, is your source the one with the two small corrections that you gave me, or?
Probably. I can tell for sure if I was close. I can do it.
Is that your hand, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to take them and comment on them? And then give it back to me? No? Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I make-
To accept the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Betsy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Do we
Okay, the
have a
July
thing? We don't have an
20th
agenda.
minutes.
We're going to do that next week, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
There's an agenda. I've got an old one.
How about the August
Do you
3rd minutes?
I have an old one.
Please.
Mr. Chairman,
It's not the
Yes, please.
updated one.
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
read the minutes. I would suggest just one tiny change on page 3, the word Peastone.
So where was that?
It's in the bottom paragraph, and it's spelled P-dash. Stone.
Keystone is PEA.
I think isn't that that's the more hip way to do it though.
Is that?
Of
course.
She's just,
Yeah, she was hip.
she's just being hip, that's all.
I'm not hip.
I have a comment though, even though I wasn't here. I looked at them. I looked at them and who's his name is here, and he's not on the board anymore.
Yes. Okay, under absent, Mike is,
I didn't know that.
that's
That was the
okay,
last meeting.
not a problem.
Well, but I
That was
noticed,
the one
I know you did, that's awesome.
you want to see.
Okay, anything else?
so I can't make a motion.
I can't.
Who are you looking for?
So a motion by Mary, second by Jamie to adopt the minutes of August 3rd. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. August 10th. Anyone get a chance to read these, or should we table them for next?
I did.
You did, Kristen?
Yeah.
Yep. Did you want that one?
I had one thing, that was it, on page 7, where it says, I said I don't agree with that in the A zone, not in that area. And otherwise, everything looked fine. I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
Move them.
I second it.
So,
Did you move it?
I moved.
I second it.
motion by Kristen and a second by Maureen to,
Could those of you at that end who are making motions and seconds speak up so we can hear them? Because then we can take-
Sure.
Sure.
Sorry.
Kristen's always got the low modulation.
And Jamie too.
Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie was quiet. Maury, I can hear.
All right, Betsy, the time has started on you.
She's back.
We keep the loud
Okay,
people on
all
that
those in
end for
favor of
purpose.
accepting the August 10th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Okay. H. Russell Lemke, 63 Quonset Road, Falmouth, Mass., with permission to add 2 feet to the existing porch, to move the steps out additional 2 feet, and to extend the steps along the entire porch. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending a -2 to the bylaw, -3 to the state of the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Kristen, can I have your corrected minutes, please?
Oh,
That
Motion
is
by
from-
Maury, do I get a second? Do I have a second?
thank you.
Second.
Second by Mary. All those in favor of accepting staff's recommendation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. And by the way, this is request for determination of applicability. Let's see that. Next is Clayton Karen Moore, 19 Moonpenny Lane, East Falmouth, Mass. Permission to construct a roof over the existing deck. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending a -2 to the bylaw, -3 to the state of the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Courtney and second by, was it Mary again?
No, it was Betsy.
Betsy? Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Betsy,
Okay.
could you speak up a little bit so that we can hear you?
That's what happens when you get a week
Okay.
off.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, care of Rick Galat, 60-90 Challenger Drive, also known as 569 Woods Hole Road, Woods Hole, Mass. Permission to remove and replace the existing paved parking area in the same location and footprint. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending a -2 to the bylaw, -3 to the state of the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
So we got a motion by Courtney and a second by Jamie. Betsy and Mary are recusing themselves from this one.
And I just had one question.
Susan, did you get that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Maury?
One question. I didn't go out there, obviously, it's an RDA. Are there any improvements to drainage, or is everything okay out there?
Way to be thorough, Dave.
Jim?
Just curious.
Good evening, Dave.
David Martin here on behalf of the applicant. That's the same question that Mark Kaspersick brought up
Oh.
when we were met on site together. And you'll note on the plan that we've incorporated a note to inspect and repair or reconstruct to as new condition on the drainage structure.
Thank you very much, that's all I want. Thank you.
Dave, can you just repeat that? Repair the,
Inspect, repair, or reconstruct as needed. It says it on the plan.
yep.
I don't have the plan, sorry.
I'm sorry. As needed to provide full functional capacity.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, anything else? Comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, 2 abstentions. Okay, so moved.
Actually, I think if we're recused, we don't abstain.
Yeah.
That's true,
We're
I'm
just
sorry.
recused.
No, I messed that
No
up.
abstentions.
No abstentions. So we had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Recusals, no
5
abstentions.
in favor, none opposed, no abstentions. All right,
Night,
Pete.
David.
Night, thank you.
Another good one, Dave. Peter Gallerini, 121 T-Ticket Path, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to trim branches away from the house and to vista prune. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending a -2 to the state and bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Courtney and a second by Maury. Comments, questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Charles Johnson, 240 Acapesca Road, East Falmouth, Mass. With permission to build a 16-foot by 30-foot deck with stairs within the existing concrete patio footprint. Jen?
We are recommending a -2 to the bylaw, -3 to the state for resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Courtney, second by Betsy. Any other comments, questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Gregory and Carol Mills, 83 Walker Street, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to raise and reconstruct the existing 4-bedroom, single-family house with an attached garage, deck with stairs, porch, installed driveway, utilities, outdoor shower, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting continuance until next week, August 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we got Betsy, second by Maury, to continue at the request of the applicant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Jen, could you have them change that to outside rinse station as opposed to outside shower, please?
You making a note of that, Mr. Walker? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next week, 30th.
Okay,
I'm wondering why that's not on the rules.
Might just be in a flood zone.
yeah. Okay, next up is John Mendelson, 15 Rydalmount Drive, Falmouth, Mass., for permission to replant the front yard area where diseased black oaks and invasive plants were removed. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending negative to remove bylaw, negative frame to the state with the resource area boundaries not been
So
defined.
moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Courtney, second by Maury. Any other comments or questions? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstention unanimous, so moved. Request for a hearing under notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And first up is Herbert Foster, 199 Surf Drive, Falmouth, Mass., for permission to raise, R-A-Z-E, the existing dwelling and construct a new single-family with attached garage, decks, connections to town sewer and utilities, install driveway, native mitigation plantings, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll say that in my comments until Jack says it.
Good evening, Jack.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Nothing's done.
Okay. For the record, my name is Jack Landis-Colley. I'm a civil engineer in private practice, and I've been retained by the homeowners, who are also the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Foster. With me this evening is the design company, Mark of Longfeld Design, and Kevin Clower, the client's attorney. I'd like to begin by describing the property and then what we're proposing to do. It is rather a mouthful, but it's consistent with the construction of any new home. The property we're talking about is identified as Lot 1. It's 8,429 square feet, more or less. Beginning in the northwest corner, it's trapezoidal in shape, more or less, goes easterly 105 feet, southerly 84 feet, and then it has two courses with a curve here, which is about 105 feet again, and then back to the point of beginning, 75 feet. On the lot is an existing concrete stone driveway, an existing house, and the rest of the lot is extensively planted. If you were to go out there now, you would see grasses in the front, and that is tall, or not an arborist, but tall weeping grasses in the front, and what I would consider cultivated grass on the back side. It's also heavily planted here. The resource areas, and beside it is, on the westerly side is Mill Road, and we've depicted the two sidelines, and to the south is Surf Drive, and we've depicted the two sidelines of Surf Drive. To the south is a dune and a beach. I met with staff and we agreed. I originally showed the dune about 5 to 6 feet parallel to the pavement, but when talking with the staff, they asked us to show the dune at the edge of the pavement. Obviously, it's common knowledge to all the people sitting on this board that we have a beach dune system, and it's maintained by the DPW aggressively, and that that dune line is never going to change. 27 feet to the other side of the dune is the back shore area of the beach. It just ran off the page, so I reference it, but we actually did measure it. The dune is about 22 to 27 feet in width. It's shaped at a ratio of about, I think, 3 to 1. So there's a hummock of it, and it comes back down. It's covered with American beach grass. It has random openings for the public to pass and repass. I think there's an opening over here, and I'm sure down by the river, there's another opening. Directly to the west is the municipal town parking. And we do have in the enclosures the notice of intent that shows basically the geographic relationship of the parking area to the lot. I did tell you this was the lot. Yeah, this is the house. That's in light brown. You won't find, and I checked with staff, a wetlands data form because there are no vegetated wetlands within 100 feet of the activity or the perimeter of the property. The river is 2 house lots over. There are house lots here. The town parking area is here, and if you were to go in a 45-degree angle northwest, it's about 105 feet until you get to that other side. All along the westerly edge of the Mill Road is that stormwater managed swale. So even though you see the edge of pavement here, really, well, I noted there's the grass swale, and then there's a stone wall. So there are no vegetated wetlands other than the dune. And the dune, it's rather obvious, and we located it for its shape and form. We just show the upland edge of it. The proposal is to tear down the existing structure and replace it with a new structure. And that new structure is depicted in this bowl line. In addition to that, we're going to tie into the town sewer. This is one of the few places in town that had sewer long before what we have now. And so there'll be no additional nitrogen loading or nitrogen loading in the future because it all ties into the sewer main. And this is the approximate location of the sewer tie that we got from the town records. In the course of doing this work, I think it's fair to say that most of the plants immediately around the property will be removed. And as part of the submission package, you should have 2 sets of landscaping plans. The first one, unless Jen and the staff discarded them, the first one is a landscape design that, when meeting with the staff, they were dissatisfied with, so we had another set prepared. Now, just as a footnote, that did not come in 7 days ahead of time, but it was based on the dialogue we had with the staff. We wanted to make the changes before the meeting. They're there as a matter of record. I think they're pretty close because we had that dialogue with the staff. And I also brought a reduced copy of it here, and this is the plants that they proposed. I'm not an arborist, but those are the plant species I would expect to find in a habitat like this. The structure of the house. There's going to be a deck here, and then it's going to be supported by the use of pilings. This is a velocity zone, so what I did do is I put, and you should have a complete filing of the architectural plans. Mark's group put it together, but the purpose of this is I wanted to show you the actual footprint on the ground that is going to be within that area of the velocity zone. If you look and you start at the southwest corner, we come up here, and these are going to be breakaway, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pilings, and this is the doorway entrance. On this plan, that represents this area over to here. Down here, there's a series of steps which are depicted there. And then it goes across and comes back to the point of beginning over to here. So the area that's going to have the breakaway panels are not this entire perimeter, but what I just described in through here. And I think, and Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that footprint is actually about 100 to 120 square feet smaller than the existing structure. Is that a correct statement? Correct. Okay. At conclusion of the job, they're going to revert that to lawn and follow the planting details that was prepared by Elizabeth Costa. The summary table over here, we think it's complete. I'm a little embarrassed because I found a Scribner's error, but and they show the A and B areas existing and proposed, and right on this line right here, proposed lot coverage, that's incorrect. The percent coverage, 35 point, is correct, but the draftsman failed to make the change, and I failed to catch it. It's actually the summation of these two, which is 23.6 by structures and 12.2 by pavement. Now, we've called this concrete driveway pavement, so with the exception of that one item, the rest is correct. I can go through that summation. Basically, what it says is there's no improvement and alteration in any of the A buffer. About 80% of the alteration is in the B buffer, and about 20% is in neither the A or the B, but into land subject to coastal storm flowage. And to that note, the entire lot is in coastal storm flowage, so there are no lines on here. It simply goes across the whole lot, and it's identified as a velocity zone. I think it's elevation 15 from memory. That's the entire project. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Jack. John?
Yes, Madam Chair. We did request a change in the planting plan, so that's what that reflects. Yeah. What's the existing total living space?
I'm not absolutely sure of that answer. I can tell you what the existing footprint, which is more conservative because it's not only living, but what occupies the footprint of the ground. The existing coverage by structures is 1,342.
I want to know the total living space.
Can you answer that? Yeah, I can't answer that. Kevin can.
For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney with Amet Law Firm here in Falmouth, and I represent the applicant. Jen, it's a one-floor house with a rooftop deck. The living...
There isn't a second floor?
No.
Okay, so
No.
it is the footprint.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah, so it's just, the only area on the second floor is that rooftop deck, which is visible from the street.
Okay,
Otherwise,
yeah, no,
it's
I
just a
know that.
single...
I wasn't sure if there was like another hidden like half floor or
No.
something.
So the living space,
That
it's
one.
the 1,300 square feet.
Cool, thank you. There's just a few things, and the board can decide. You all know how I feel about breakaway panels, and this project will have some breakaway panels. So staff likes to see everything on open panel. That said, the only comment I really have is with Mr. Fowler's letter. So I disagree on your third to last paragraph when you say that a structure that is raised above the base flood is technically out of the flood zone. And that argument has been made before the board alone. Betsy's shaking her head, I see others shaking their head, and that argument has not been accepted by the board. And you and I had conversations about that. I just want to get that out of the other than that, we did have revised architectural submitted to you because the first set of architectural showed interior walls on the ground level. Those have since been removed, and a new plan was submitted today with the correct revision date. So
Today.
And what is that showing? The Nothing, those two storage areas are gone?
Those two storage areas are gone.
Thanks.
And just the enclosure around the elevator, which is required by the
Okay,
Okay, but we did make the interior walls with the storage room and everything.
gone.
Yeah, just as a point of clarification, it was submitted last week, but there wasn't a revised date, so there had to be clarity, and that's what Jen asked for. And all this dialogue is because we have, and the staff was gracious enough to spend the time with us to review the application. Clearly, there's one issue that we believe you can overcome, the position you've taken in the past. But other than that, I think everything else is pretty much in order to your expectations. And to that point, we did want to say that even though Kevin drafted the entire letter, it was done with the idea of looking at the resource area and what the significance is. Right now, we have a structure below the base flood elevation, the entire structure, basically. So part of the argument is that it is an improvement because the entire structure, except for the breakaway walls, is above the base flood elevation. Also, the wetlands bylaw does allow us, I believe, as a matter of right, long as we don't affect a resource area of 250 feet. So what we're really discussing, in my opinion, is the difference between the footprint of about 1370 plus the 250, which brings it to 1620, and then the final footprint size, which I can't remember,
1988.
which is, I think, another,
1988.
which is another 300 square feet. So I think when you focus on this issue, we focus on the 300 square feet, not the 550. Would you like to add something to that?
Just a few notes on what Jack is saying. I think he's correct. My letter set forth a few reasons why I feel that the 200 square foot addition limitation does not apply to this project. Specifically, the fact that it refers to small additions to existing structures, and what we're proposing is not an addition to an existing structure, it's a raise and rebuild. On top of that, what we're doing is not, the area that is existing on the ground today is I have the exact number here, is 1,342 square feet, and what we're proposing for a footprint of the first floor is in fact 1,217, which is a reduction of 125 square feet. I feel that given the conditions on the property, it is possible for the commission to overcome the presumption that what we're proposing has an adverse effect on the resource area, which is allowable under the wetland regulations. And I think that if that presumption is overcome, it's clear that this project meets the guidelines because it is a significant improvement over what is proposed, or what's existing. We're raising the structure to comply with the flood zone standards. We're adding significant mitigation where very little exists today. We are not impacting the resource area. We're actually improving the flow of sediment and water around the property. And the board has in the past found that they will calculate square footage based on the area of pilings within the flood zone, and that was 80G Little Island Road. Specifically, the board found, the commission found there was a reduction of the structure within the velocity zone, and that calculation was based on the area of the pilings for the proposed structure and not the overall footprint of the house. So much like that, what we're looking at here is the area that is within the velocity zone and not the overall footprint. And if you look at that, it's a significant reduction and not an increase. So I think there's a number of reasons why the board can approve this project. I didn't include the information about Little Island Road in my letter because I just found it today. So there was certain information, including that and the reduction in the first floor size that was not included in the letter that I wanted to address. But for those reasons in the letter, which I don't want to rehash, and for the reasons I just mentioned, I think that this is an approvable project. Jen, I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yes, Kevin. And I pointed you to the Little Island Road this afternoon because I remember it being a larger structure. Now I remember the argument. Staff didn't agree with that argument. The board
Sure.
agreed with the argument, but just for the record, I did not agree with that. I do have a question, and it goes to your argument of just having the pilings as structure. I don't believe Little Island had breakaway.
No, it didn't.
Did it?
No.
I don't know, I read the decision.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it did, so I can't.
No.
Because the architecturals clearly show that storage area, the garage and the storage has a footprint to it. So, you know,
And that is a reduction over what exists today, though.
it is, but then we're going total living space over what exists today, and we're going from 1,300 to 4,552. So that, it is an increase, but it is raised, it is meeting flood elevations. My biggest thing is the breakaway panel stuff. That, and there will be a special condition that no interior walls except needed for the elevator. So that is clearly defined in order of conditions.
And stairway.
In stairway, yeah, okay.
And
No,
stairway.
just
because you-
as it's pictured on this architectural, so there's no confusion
Yeah.
during the building stage and
Absolutely.
interior walls prop up. Okay.
To Jen's concern about breakaway panels, I can think of a number of times that this board has approved breakaway panels for raise and rebuilds, because it is an improvement over what exists today. And in this case, I think it's a very significant improvement. I understand. I have to, too.
You all set, Jen?
I just keep my opinion very consistent. Yes, I'm all set.
Courtney?
Do you have an engineering drawing of the way these breakaway panels are going to be constructed?
No, we do not. I think that they're...
I would like to see that. My second concern here is, I'm looking at the site plan, and am I correct in reading this site plan that the concrete wall that goes around the corner from Surf Drive toward Mill Road is actually within the town layout? You show the wall there on Mill Road, right on the property line. Then it swings down, and it looks to me like it's out in Surf Drive.
It is.
Over here?
Yeah.
That's been there forever.
Does not.
Well, I don't care whether it's been there forever. This is a good opportunity to get it out of the town layout.
Mr. Byrd, the applicant is telling me that that was approved by the town. We can look for more information on
Do
that.
you have a copy of the approval?
I've just been told right now, so I do not, but I will find out, and we'll see what we can submit to.
That concerns me that, you have something like that, and this is an opportunity to correct something that shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Unless it was approved.
That's my only comment.
Kevin, just find the approval if you can.
Yep,
that'd be great.
Yep,
And then-
I'll see what we can put our hands on.
Anything else, Courtney?
No, it's just I want to see the breakaway panels, and I do have concerns about that wall on Surf Drive, and I suspect that it occurred because of, it was a long time ago, and people didn't worry that much about those things, and now now we're in 2016, and our technology and surveying abilities have improved, and we have an anomaly here. And it just bothers me. I think this is a time to correct that.
Okay. Thank you, Kristen?
I just wondered, when you said there it was going to be sewered, is it planned, or is it?
It is sewered today.
It is sewered
Yes.
now? Okay, so it's just going to attach directly up? Okay. All right, that's all for me.
Thank you, Kristen. Maury?
Couple questions. In this new updated landscape plan, what is all this hash mark? It's not in the legend. What is all this going to be?
I believe, Maury, I had the same question. I believe that there's a
Falmouth.
reference somewhere here that shows it to the,
1,292 square feet of
Says
Falmouth
Falmouth
friendly lawn.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I don't think that's
Falmouth
good.
friendly lawn anymore,
That's not happening.
just to let you know.
I just really plan without a message.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I mean, only because when you look at the amount of lawn that's there now, we're certainly not going to encourage more lawn in that area. Secondly, is a fish pool going?
No.
In the new plan, it shows half a pool, and the other plan, it shows sort of hashed a little bit.
It's Mr. Paulson's desire, I guess it has some sentimental value.
Was it ever
He wants to
permitted?
keep it.
Was it ever permitted?
That I didn't even think of asking, I guess.
Well, when you get the permit for the wall, when you show that you had a conservation permit and the town permit for the wall, maybe you could also find the one for the fish pool.
You mean for Conservation Commission?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know of any limit for it.
Because I think he stated 20 years ago we got the permit for the wall, so I'm sure that'll be in the conservation file
Permit
also.
and permission,
He said he had,
you had permits, or?
You said you had approval.
Everything that's.
Could you go to the, thank you, and just give your name for the record?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Herb Foster. Everything that's existing has been permitted. The only thing that wasn't was the pond. The walls were permitted, the driveway was permitted, the walkways were permitted, everything was permitted,
okay,
except for the pond.
okay,
The pond came later on, after the hurricane.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, after this wall was here before Hurricane Bob, before 91? Okay, just from, the next thing I had a question, I'm going to support Jen, obviously, on the breakaway panels. I don't really need a diagram of them because I'm not going to support breakaway panels. 80G Little Island Road is all open piled. There are no panels anywhere. There's also no garage there. So this is not the same. The total square footage of the living space is 3,335 square feet now? Is
That
what
sounds
I'm-
correct, yes.
That's correct. And just clarify, because I think I misunderstood. When Jen asked if this was 2 stories, and you said, no, there was an open deck, but I'm looking at the plan, and there's 2 full stories, am I
No,
correct?
that's the original house.
The existing, okay, I'm
the
sorry,
existing
thank you.
house.
I was like, okay, the existing, yes, I went up
There's
there.
no
It's
open air,
just an
there's no
deck.
open air bedroom on the second floor.
Right,
on
it's just
this
like an
one.
open turret. And then, let's see, my last question. So how many square feet are you increasing the driveway, the concrete?
I have it listed.
Because I see your lot coverage, your existing is 23.8%, and now it's going to be 35.8, and I think the limit is 40%, am I correct? So this is close to the,
It is listed here, I just gotta find which line item it's on. Existing by taking 7.9, and proposed, covered by pavement, and an additional 258 square feet.
okay, because in one you say there's, somewhere it says there's 0. Proposed lot coverage by structure in the A buffer is 0. And in the B buffer is, okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Maureen. Jamie?
I have nothing to add.
Betsy?
I actually am surprised nobody else has mentioned it, but what this is doing is we're taking a 1,342 square foot structure and basically putting, what is it, 4,000?
3,335.
Well, plus
The pavement.
plus the breakaway panel material.
Mhm.
And I interpret the 200 square feet as 200 square feet to an existing footprint. Whether they wanted to rebuild in the existing footprint and add 200 square feet and still go up, that, I could live with that. I can't live with an expansion this size. And the other thing about this expansion is it goes to 23.6 and we don't have the zoning,
We're going to zoning
Like
after this.
zoning?
We're going to zoning after
All
this,
right.
yes.
because it exceeds
And,
zoning.
and as I discussed with Jen, we have applied for a special permit, and would actually like to have some resolution to the Conservation Commission before we go to zoning, because if we have to change our plans based on this, we don't want to go through and get a special permit, and then have to come, find out we have to change it, or vice versa. So we'd like, we have applied for a special permit, because it is non-conforming, existing, and it's also going to be over the allowable lot coverage. It's 20% by right and 25% with a special permit.
Okay, but, I mean, I'm concerned, you have people who are right next door who have built a new house that had to do it, that did it on the same footprint. I mean, we're gonna have this situation all the way down Surf Drive, all the way down our velocity zones. And I'm just concerned with the amount of material in the velocity zone. I would like to think we're not gonna get hit by a big hurricane. I would like to think even if we get hit by a storm, these houses that are raised, that the water's just gonna flow through, and there's not gonna be a problem. But should there be a problem, and a few years ago, I mentioned Hurricane, what's the name, Isaac. Isaac is the name of a book about the hurricane in Galveston. If there's a major storm and it rolls into a velocity zone, it takes all the material with it and piles it up, further and further inland, creating a series of environmental problems. So your client has a right to, as far as I'm concerned, to rebuild on the footprint, to expand it by 200 square feet, to move up, to go from a one-story to a two-story house, which should be able to do, but I'm uncomfortable increasing the footprint.
Respectfully, I would just say that that's not what the wetland regulation says. And we've been beholden to what the regulations say, and that's an interpretation which isn't based on the language in that regulation.
That's all.
Mary?
I don't really have anything to add to what's been said, except I will offer my view that I also don't particularly like breakaway panels, and perhaps a couple blocks down Surf Drive on the end of Walker Street, there's a house that's being built with large flow-through construction on the bottom. Maybe clients could see what they think about that.
That's a good point, Mary. I was going to mention that too. Just a different idea. It's all a different way of doing it. Betsy, I got to disagree with you. You're taking a structure and you're moving it out of the velocity zone. So you're getting rid of a lot of stuff. If you left that house there as it is and we had a hurricane, that's a heck of a lot more stuff blowing that back towards Mill Road and all that. They're lifting it up out of, that's why I have no problem with them adding it like it is. Lifting it up, let the water flow through. That's my opinion.
We'll agree to disagree then.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Courtney, one more thing?
Just a quick follow-up to Betsy's comment from a historical perspective. Right across the street from this house, on the other corner is a parking lot for Surf Drive. And there was a massive Victorian, late Victorian shingle-style house that ended up on the other side of the pond there, Salt Pond, after that storm. And the only thing that remains of that property is its garage, which is that yellow building up the street. So the power of a big storm can be devastating, and I think we need to be concerned about these things as we go ahead and permit them. History does repeat itself.
Mr. Bird, I couldn't agree more, and I think that's why we have the regulations the way we do, and I think that's why the flood zone compliance is set the way it is, and that's why I rely on people like Mr. Bogosian to build strong houses that aren't going to go anywhere when they're in compliance with the standards.
Lori?
A question for you, Jen. Because we don't have that revised architectural plan, is that also where the garage?
It's right behind me. I have one for you.
Oh, maybe, you guys can dig it out.
It was the bottom of your pile.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so, let me look at it quick. So the garage still has, I'm still seeing walls on this,
Here, give her that.
Panels.
Give her that.
panels. Or is this the one that I'm supposed to look at?
What are you doing, the red lines?
No, what's a dark line?
That's the breakaway panels.
Okay, so they didn't bring us back a revised one with no breakaway
No,
panels?
no, no, I didn't say breakaway panels, I said
The interior walls, okay. So the garage still will,
Still asking for the
So-
So, we're looking for original
set of plans.
actuals.
Thank you.
Bear with me, guys.
I did. I just want to clarify that,
Yeah, so I
There you
asked them to bring me a revised plan
with these little rooms gone.
without the interior
Walls.
walls. They know how I feel
About the breakaway panels.
But the client, the applicant chose to put
Yep.
them on the architectural, knowing full well, what I was gonna say,
Okay.
but that's up to you guys.
So-
But this is
Yeah.
without the
Interior
interior
walls.
walls, except those needed for the stairwell.
Stairwell and the elevator. So my question, you're the architect, sir?
Yeah, with that.
Okay.
Long color design build, my name's Mark Bogosian.
Hi, Mark. So my question to you then is, this footprint surround of the proposed breakaway panels, how tall are the breakaway panels?
The breakaway panels are gonna go from grade,
11 foot, it says here roughly?
correct.
Okay.
So they're gonna go up to the bottom, and the main reason in keeping a nice look for the house, when you drive by, you now have somewhere, you're gonna have to park the cars, that it's a perfect spot to either park a car, or this lot, if he's not gonna have a shed, he could put something
No.
on.
No, no shed. So just stay there for a minute, Mark, because I have another question. So could you tell me the square footage of your proposed panels? How many square feet do those panels consist of that would be breaking away?
Size of each panel.
They're 11 by-
I'd have to calculate the 11, I could do the math, but I don't have that number off.
The panels of the square footage of the interior. is-
No, no, just those, all those panels.
132 square feet, roughly.
All of them?
132, 156, average 140.
So all this wall is only 132 square feet?
No, you asked
Oh.
each wall.
Each wall,
Each wall.
okay, so it's way over the 200 square foot of material. All I'm saying is, the reason that we are, not all of us, myself is one, the breakaway panel, one panel when it breaks away is over 200, some of them are over 200 square feet or 100 square feet of flotsam and jetsam, and it moves. So it's no different than a structure moving around. So they are pieces of equipment. And supposedly, I know, supposedly they're supposed to flip-flop and go in and out. Unfortunately, nature doesn't always agree with engineers. It takes its toll on things. And we have not had a hurricane since the engineered breakaway panels have come in front of this board. Maybe Hurricane Sandy, maybe other places, but I don't know the stats on that.
I could provide some additional information on the breakaway panels that we could submit to the board.
So they're not really breakaway, they're swinging panels, is that what you're
They're
saying?
called breakaways, but
They're
they're
called
hinged
breakaway, but
panels.
they will hinge and go in and out, if you will, with the tides.
And they don't get smashed by the waves?
No, as soon as there's pressure, they're going to move.
On the design of the flood vents?
What was that?
On the same design as the flood vents?
Correct. Similar concept, but they're not exact.
Because they're a lot smaller, but,
Well, the flood vent is for a flood zone. A V zone,
no, but I'm just asking.
But a flood
if the
vent-
same
Same
concept.
concept.
Okay.
In
What we're
theory, they
looking
could
for it to
pivot,
do, as soon as
allow
it has
water to
pressure,
go
it will
out.
come up, and then it'll come back down. And
so when it has a pounding surf against it, does it just stay right up there, hanging out?
My understanding is that when a certain amount of kinetic pressure builds up, they vent in. So they flow in and then flow out as the pressure builds on either side. Jen?
I have a question. So, for Mark, and this is why, Courtney, I think we need
The detail.
The detail of the.
Yeah, we're happy to provide it.
Because without seeing them in action, hang on, Courtney, I sometimes get confused too. You have an 11-foot high wall, correct?
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. That whole 11-foot wall does not pivot, does it?
The middle
No,
wall.
just the bottom part, right, Jamie? Somebody help me out.
No,
Well,
no, no,
if I
no.
understand, it'd be right in the
The whole
middle.
thing
The
does.
whole thing
The
pivots.
whole
What we're
thing?
looking for, the beauty of this project is,
There's no
I
beauty.
have a question,
Oh,
though. I'm gonna put my point, so I have, so
Should
this
take it.
whole wall pivots up. So 11 feet of this wall has to go into the thing, correct?
Structure.
I'm looking at all my contractors,
Mhm.
right?
And if there's storage in there,
If Jamie knows what I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
it's not going anywhere.
If there's kayaks and Christmas decorations and
Cars.
everything, how does this wall move?
Doesn't.
I think I famously asked this to McGrath when he was building the garage with the breakaway panels and the car was gonna be in it, and how are they gonna work with the car in it?
Yeah, it was
That's
right down
my
the street
question.
from here, too.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to understand how this works.
This is a question that has come up in other situations.
Great concept, but-
And the answer to that is,
it's not reality.
because in order to preserve,
Breakaway panels or the thing?
No, the pivoting.
Yeah.
well, in order to preserve the integrity of the house, in order to save the investment in the house, you don't use it as storage.
I understand that, but up until I requested the interior walls come down, it says storage.
And we,
That's my architect, this is his first velocity going project, and he took him a while to catch up.
Unfinished storage, asked to get rid of the interior walls, there's still storage.
Cars are gonna be parked there.
Because, you know, that 11 foot by, 11 by what? 11 foot tall by
We
8
actually,
foot or 10 foot?
yeah, there's a maximum of how wide you make them.
Until I
So,
see them
that's a
actually
lot,
working
that's
in
a lot of
action,
weight too,
you know?
you know, I mean,
Aren't there gonna be
I
cars?
can see what Jim's
Aren't there
saying
gonna
is.
be cars here and here?
And as soon as you put a wall up, things go inside it.
Yeah, it's
Which is
true.
why-
If I had it, I'd be putting my
It's a-
kayak
it's a
in the
driveway
middle
for a
and
car.
Through the
decorations
chair.
down there.
When Hurricane Bob came,
I would.
I was on the commission, and Hurricane Bob, all those little beach houses that are all up in the air, I think if we went through their orders right now, probably there are a few that are in compliance. There was supposed to be no lattice, no anything, nothing. We were down to window boxes that we weren't allowing. And this is directly a street distance from those cabanas. And the whole purpose of that is kayaks, all of that becomes somebody else's problem in a hurricane. And with the panels, which is why some of us, I as one, am totally against them, because as soon as you cover them, they fill up. And that, if you go down Surf Drive and you look at the cabanas, very few have anything under them except rubbish boxes, which are probably not part of the order if we ever went through them again. That's why some of us get a little angst over them. And again, the ones on Surf Drive don't have them. I don't know why we're starting to allow it, which I know there are already some there. That doesn't mean two wrongs make a right. And that's my 2 cents.
Courtney?
Certainly from an architectural standpoint, looking at a building that has breakaway panels and a shingle down to the ground and so on is more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. The issue that we're facing is, while that may be more pleasing to the eye, we're looking at what is the impact of something like this. And we've had this discussion numerous times on breakaway panels. And we've had the discussion about storage and human nature putting their cars, kayaks, Christmas decorations, and who knows what else in there. And those blocking it. And we keep going through this. And I remember at one point there was an intriguing suggestion, and I think it was a house up in West Falmouth. I'm not sure we bought into the plan, but the breakaway panels were actually motorized. And so when there was a storm, the panels went up and locked into the underside of the deck. So you now had it wide open. The problem is, somebody has to turn that on and lift it up.
Yeah.
And if they're in Boston, they aren't gonna be down here doing it. If you can convince us that they could be raised by a sensor, I might be willing to listen.
I still think we might have a compromise if you guys were willing to look at Walker Street. Because again, I think that's a pretty good idea, the way they did it. It's something to think about. Because I know what Ben's saying about that. To me, that's an awful lot of weight swinging in, and if something does disrupt it.
well, we can and will submit details.
It's just a suggestion. I'm not gonna go either way on it,
It's a
but,
conversation we can have.
I think it might be a good idea just to take a look at it.
Mr. Foster did want to make a comment.
I don't want to butt in or anything, but from a historic standpoint, I was here for the hurricane. And I would have been here 29 years ago 25 years ago, asking to go up then, if it wasn't for that Florida wall that I have in front of the house. That saved the house. So the breakaway panels, in addition to that wall in the front, the wall saved the house, because if the wall wasn't there, the waves would have knocked the house off an inch, and then it would have been compelled to go up. But those walls, in addition to the breakaway panels, those saved the house. And I don't know if any of you watched Chronicle the other night. My wife was on Chronicle. They interviewed her because we were there and we lived through it. And those walls out in front were a godsend, because that's what saved the house in the hurricane. And I know they'll do the same thing again, in addition to the breakaway panels, plus having the house above the floodplain will protect the house. Thank you.
I just have one comment. Mr. Foster, did you just say that you would have gone up 20 years ago, were you able to?
Well,
If the house had
You
been
have
what-
a height
damaged.
restriction?
I did, yes. But if the house moved an inch, I would have had to go up. It would have moved the structure. I'm saying if the wall wasn't there, that the possibility of the waves hitting the house would have moved the house off the foundation. And then what am I going to do? I have to go up. So,
Something new, Courtney?
Yeah, just to follow on real quick, I had made the comment that maybe this was an opportunity to move that, to take care of the fact that that wall was in the layout. In my mind, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to eliminate the wall and have a dune there. My suggestion was based on the idea that you move the wall back to conform to the property line, that's all.
that was all pre-approved.
No,
Nothing was done without conservation approving it in the
okay.
If
I don't want to
you
belabor it. I
gotta go to
just
the,
wanted to be clear as to
Yeah.
what my point
you're
was.
okay. All right. Anything else, Kevin? Everybody else is good?
AC units,
Like a continuance.
are there going to be any?
I'm sorry, what was that?
AC units or any
Or generator.
By
generator?
Right.
building code,
Everything's
has to
gotta be out.
above floodplain.
It won't make no difference.
Okay,
So
But
they
it's not
have to
on the
have
plan.
mounted on the side of the house outside of the flood zone.
cantilever, okay.
Got it.
Kevin, you're gonna need a continuance, because they're gonna need the detail for the breakaway panels and also the approval for the wall and the town road layout. That's not our approval.
Sure.
That would be an approval from either Board of Selectmen, town engineering.
I was going to say probably engineering department,
Yeah, I would.
but we'll see what we can
try
find.
that. We have, if don't, we should be able to get the information to us by next week. So then after that, we're looking at the 14th of September. I know you're up against the zoning thing. but-
Sure. I think we could probably get you the information we're looking for by next Wednesday, which would put us
Well,
on.
it would be up to the board whether or not they would be able to come in and review the material, find the
Oh, I see what you, I thought you were saying for,
That much, he's just looking at the panel.
I suspect we could have the information, both the details and any permitting by Friday, but that's at the board's discretion, of course, if they think that they can review it.
I mean, I think you heard the board, they're gonna want to detail the breakaway panels, because they're also gonna want you to look at probably other
Sure.
options.
We can certainly have that
besides the breakaway
conversation.
panel. So if you are to change your plan, that would be able to be submitted by Friday. So what do you guys want to do? That's it.
It's not.
Vice Chair acting.
It's not.
The 14th, or you guys okay?
If I could add something. If I could add something about the walls. I don't know the history with the Conservation Commission and the concrete wall, but it's fair to say, if you were to go down Mara Vista Ave, I'll bet you half the houses that have fences in the front yard are within the layout. It's a common practice in almost every community. So I would seriously doubt there's any permit from the Board of Selectmen in terms of that fence. I'd be happy to look. I'm just saying it's a common practice.
Mr. Foster believes there is something there with
We
permission.
can certainly
so
look.
Please do.
Yeah, we're happy to do so.
Okay, cool.
I want to make one quick comment
Absolutely, and then we're
To
going to
Kevin.
move this on.
that you were correct and about the regulation.
I'm just gonna.
And I will view this project based on the regulations.
That's all I can ask, thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
All right, so do you guys feel comfortable on Friday? I know you don't, so do you want to have them go to the 14th?
When do you go in front of the ZBA?
15th? So we wouldn't have, I mean, if we have to push the ZBA back, we push the ZBA back, that's, don't have time, Mark.
How does everybody feel?
I think you should, my recommendation
I'm not gonna
would
be
be,
at
and
I'm not
I
here
don't
either.
care if they
Okay.
want to go to
I'm not
next
here
week,
either.
that's fine.
Mhm.
My
You're gonna-
recommendation would be,
Sooner
give
better.
yourselves time, absorb what the board said, go to the 14th, and come back with a plan you think.
Okay, we have a problem with the 14th, 2 members will not be here,
Which two?
Betsy and Maury.
Okay, so I got Mary,
Just
Russell,
double check.
Jamie, Kristen, and
When is it?
Peggy down here, so it's up to you guys. I mean, I still have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
14th
So-
of September.
Given our timeframes, I think would like to keep it as quickly as we can. Certainly, I understand the board's concern with next week. If that's the case, and it's the 14th, it's the 14th, and if we need to push ZBA back, or even if we go to ZBA having a better idea of what the commission's leaning towards, I'm okay with that.
So the 14th?
Yeah, let's go to 14th.
9:14.
Okay.
At the request of the applicant, I make a motion to continue this to September 14th.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Betsy and a second by Courtney.
I do have a question unrelated to this for Russ and Mr. Matthews and certainly Tom Bunker. Is the Jimmy Buffett concert tonight or is it tomorrow?
I noticed that too.
It's about the same as your house you're building out Willis Road there, Willis Lane.
It's summertime. It's summertime.
Okay, we had a motion and a second.
Hawaiian shirt.
We had a motion and a second. You got that right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so we'll continue to the 14th.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second, Mr. Chairman. Is Mark working on his architectural?
Yes.
Mark with,
Yeah, it is.
Goshen, right?
Gagosian, yeah.
Gagosian.
It's in the paperwork somewhere.
Yeah, I thought I saw it with a cell phone number and everything on there.
It's right on the bottom of his, it's really little.
No, Mark McCarthy's the
No,
architect.
I'm looking for Marky. I thought I saw his name, there, no.
He must be, McCarthy's the architect.
I can tell you his last name if you, that's just what you're looking for, his
Can
name.
you spell it?
Bogosian, Bogosian.
Thank you.
Do I win anything with a spelling bee?
Our eternal gratitude.
B-O-G.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Next up is William and Karen Curley, 40 Green Harbor Road, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove the existing deck and steps and extend the kitchen and patio and new porch within the footprint of the deck, replace existing in-ground swimming pool within the same footprint, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, also name that comments until after Mr. Dunker's presentation. Hope you don't have breakaway panels, Tom.
Not gonna get into that, no.
Good.
No breakaway panels. For the
Let me
record,
read that
Tom
one.
Bunker, DSS Design.
He's going to.
It's just me, no parrot on my shoulder or anything. I'm not wasted away in Margaritaville either. Yeah.
Got a cool shirt, though.
She got a nice shirt.
So Mr. Curley, Bill and Karen Curley have this house on Green Harbor Road. It's on a little inlet, or a little channel that comes off of Green Pond, a tidal water body. The entire property is within one flood zone or another, mostly in flood zone AE, elevation 13, but there is a FEMA velocity zone, which occupies part of the front of the lot, one corner of the swimming pool, and the lawn. The Falmouth the Falmouth wetland V zone, another 25 feet, and covers the remainder of the swimming pool and some of the house and deck. There's coastal bank, the riprap along the green pond is coastal bank, as well as some of the lawn area has a slope greater than 10% along Green Pond and also along the side lot line, as this lot is at a higher elevation than the lot to the west. So there is coastal bank going along the west side also. We have an A zone for the coastal bank and an A zone to land subject to, or land under a water body, covering part of the lot, and the B zone cover most of the rest of the lot. The house is built around 1960, predating any of the regulations, and the swimming pool is at least 40 years old. It appears on the 1975 aerial photographs. And on that photograph, it's a wide open lot pretty much as it is now. It being 40 years old, he feels it's time to replace the pool, and wants to do that in exactly the same footprint. We'll take it out. The water, he said, will first drain. I don't show it on here, but he has a little electric pump, a contractor's pump, and we'll run a hose up to the front lawn into some wattles to let the water slowly leach into the lawn area up by the road. We'll pull it out. Other than that, there's actually not much volume to take out. It's just the shell of the concrete, and we'll replace it. It's his own property. He lives there. He's going to take great care to protect everything. As he's doing it, obviously the limit of work will be staked with straw bales, and he said he'll put down protection for the lawn, for people or the vehicles coming and going through here to keep it as good as possible, so he doesn't have to take the last step in the narrative, that is aerating and replanting, reseeding it. We have the swimming pool replacement in the same footprint, and then there's a deck across the front, the water side of the house, some of which will be enclosed. Part of that is an expansion of the kitchen area, and that's about 100, it's in the Falmouth velocity zone. It's about 164 square feet in that, and then part of that deck will have a roof put over it, and between the kitchen and the little corner that's in the Falmouth velocity zone, we're right about at, or I think a little bit below the 200 square feet if we're going to get into those numbers. But the deck is being reduced in size by 145 square feet. So there's actually less coverage by structure. There is a slight, on this, you can see what I've colored in green is where the deck is being removed. And there is a slight increase in the pool patio where it will be basically expanded to meet the access from the screen porch area. So overall, there'll be a decrease in coverage, about 69 square feet between the deck being removed and a little bit of the patio being extended. The only access to this will be from the screen porch, not from the kitchen area. It will be a saltwater pool there, so it won't need the chlorine and the filters and all of that. He did comment that he had to replace the liner some years back, pull it all out. It has a sand bottom, and I asked him about groundwater. He said that he did that. The pool is not in the groundwater now, and it will be replaced in the same depth. Actually, his wife thinks it'll actually be a little bit shallower, but it's not going to be in the groundwater, and require any dewatering, for that. As a reduction in coverage, there's no mitigation planting required, but I think this area that I've colored in green will have, landscape plants probably similar to what's there now between the house and the pool. That's what's being proposed. I'll take any of your questions.
Thanks, Tom. Jen?
Yeah, so I'm a little uncomfortable with the phrase, it shouldn't require dewatering. I would be much more comfortable with it.
Want me to say it will not require
It will
dewatering?
not require dewatering, because they don't want to have to put a condition that says if they encounter groundwater, the whole project stops until it's amended to deal with the water. So you can either submit something that shows a dewatering basin on the off chance.
Mhm.
There's one thing I have learned since being with this board is that nobody knows how to control water. Ever. So, if you could just submit possibly where on the site you would place a dewatering basin if it's going to be necessary, I would be a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, we'll put something up
Either
in the
that
front
or
lawn.
they will not require dewatering statements would do as well.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't wanna go there.
he had said he had been down in this sand at the bottom of the pool, and there's no groundwater, and but I can show a,
Yeah, I just,
A
just,
dewatering.
I don't think, if the board's doesn't have any really pressing questions, you can just submit that to me, that's fine. I just want to make sure that someone knows that if they encounter groundwater, certain requirements. are
yeah, we
gonna
can
be
put that in
necessary.
as a safeguard.
Okay.
The pool is about, it's at elevation roughly 9. High water, this is on NAVD, not NGVD. High water, is maybe around 1. He says an 8-foot pool, and so it's close to
It's
there,
close,
but it's
yeah.
at high tide. I can put something on there to show a dewatering area.
Great, thank you, Tom. That's it.
Mary?
No, my main question was about the depth, and you've certainly covered that, so.
Betsy?
I have nothing, thanks.
Jamie?
You're going to provide a drain down pit for the pool?
Wasn't planning to. I think, as I said, if he drains it, he can pipe it up, hose it up to the front yard. I mean, that's how he said he can drain it when pulling the pool out to reconstruct it.
Didn't the town create a bylaw
Yeah,
at town
they
meeting?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't.
What's the bylaw?
you
Can't.
can't.
Yeah,
It
it
ha-
was last night, Kevin. You cannot
Can't drain the
discharge
public.
the pool water. It can't enter like a town road.
You can't go anywhere but on the
Oh,
lot.
So if I'm looking at that little catch basin in the road, and that's where your client thinks his pool water's gonna go?
No, he's not thinking that.
Okay.
What he said for that, and he can always put in, like he said, when he's pumping it out for the demolition, he'd pipe it up to that front lawn with wattles around it, and pipe it into that. Well, water would be contained and soak into the lawn area.
Could you show us where that would be? Just point on the plan,
How are you gonna get it around the house?
with a pump.
Pump and
Bigger
hose.
pump.
Pump and hose.
Okay.
I think it would just be up in this, not in, that's probably mulch or something right there, but up in the
Okay,
lawn
so
on
not
the
near the
side.
leach field either?
Not over the leach field, which is here, but
Okay.
over the septic tank. which is
Kind of a
right
temporary
over this.
dewatering.
It's flat lawn, it's not gonna flow downhill anywhere.
A lot of water. I don't know, we usually require drains.
Well, we can.
We can deliberate on it.
Anything else, Jamie?
No.
Betsy?
Thank you.
Betsy, Maureen, sorry.
The only question I had is, well, a statement, is whenever you have to inform your clients now that when they have Falmouth-friendly lawns or whatever, that in this area, there's no fertilizer or chemicals or anything allowed. And I don't know, is that an irrigated lawn?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So if they want irrigation, they'd have to also apply for that,
New irrigation.
if it was new.
If
If it was new irrigation. If it's existing, it's, they'll just obviously redo it, but that's all, thank you.
Thanks, Maureen. Kristen?
Yeah, that was the only thing I had with the lawn being in the, it's sort of the top, it's in the top of the coastal bank here, and that's going to be continued to be lawn. There's no mitigation you're doing at all. Okay, so, yeah, fertilization would be, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Courtney?
Basically, this is a good project. There's just two things that I'm concerned about. One is, you talk about how you're going to protect this H10 loading from, H10 tank from vehicular traffic, and what methodology you're going to use. What are you going to do to ensure somebody doesn't drive over it?
I think really, I don't show it on here, but I think it would be.
Yeah, I'd like to see something definitive there. The second thing is, and I'm not a pool guy, but there are designs of swimming pools, I believe they have saltwater pools that don't require an overflow tank. I would like to see something that's incorporated into this plan that shows how the pool water is going to be dealt with, where the overflow water. I don't know what the Board of Health regulations or plumbing regulations are on this, but just to say, oh, we're going to just take a hose and flood the lawn bothers me.
Well, that's the point of the drain down pit.
Huh?
That's the point of the drain down.
Yeah, so I think this needs to be shown on the plan.
Okay. Anything else, Court?
That's it. Other than that, I think I'm comfortable with this.
Okay.
So just if you put a dry well in for a drain down.
Yeah, and if you, whatever you put in there to take care of the water, make sure that it has adequate capacity.
Can't they pump the water out to a water truck and have it taken away?
Oh, that's
Well,
expensive.
it's more, if there's excessive rain, or if for some reason it overfills, or you want to drain it down to control
Or winterize
the
it.
pH or whatever. Just from my experience, the pools we put in have, they have an overflow tank, and it's not the capacity of the pool. It's just designed to drain down excessive water, or for the purposes of chemical balance.
Well, what do you do with that water if it's a salt?
It's a
if salt
holding
water?
tank. It's actually a
It's
sealed
not
tank.
really pure salt water.
Sorry?
It's not, saltwater tanks aren't like the ocean saltwater.
Right.
But you can't put it back into groundwater either, can you?
Yeah.
You can just put it into the
It's
ground.
better than chlorine.
You can put it on your lawn?
Yeah.
Or you want to spray it on
They
the
do.
lawn.
Well, they do, I've seen them
It
put it on
doesn't burn
lawns.
the lawn up, huh?
No.
Well,
It's kind of a misnomer.
Yeah,
It's really, the salt takes the place of the chemicals. I'm no expert on that, but, that's kind of in a
Chemicals are
nutshell.
salts, too.
yeah.
okay.
So,
Well, I have a question. Do we condition these things we're just talking about?
Yes.
Or does he have to come back?
why not?
I'd just condition it.
Okay, then I'm going to make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
Okay, but we want this on the plan then, if we condition something, then it's going to have to give us a new plan then, right?
Well, yeah, they have to give us a new plan anyway.
Yeah, so, okay.
So
All right, so we have
We're
a-
going to close it and wait for a new plan, is that the?
No, close the condition
Yeah.
before work can begin, they will have to submit a new plan. And trust me, Alex is very thorough when reviewing building permits, so they won't get one until we get a revised plan.
Does a good job. Okay, so we have a motion by Betsy. Who was the second? Mary, and a second by Mary. Okay, any other comments or questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Next up is Donna and Andrea Camillo, 62 Westwood Road, North Falmouth, Mass, for permission to raise, R-A-Z-E, the existing dwelling, remove the existing swimming pool, patio, and 108-foot of pool fence, and construct a single-family, 5-bedroom house with attached garage, main entry, porches, deck with stairs, install walkways, steps within the existing seawall, a patio, AC units, generator, outdoor shower, again, that gets changed, retaining walls, gas fire pit and patio, native mitigation plantings, a new Title V sewage disposal system, utilities, drywall, driveway, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen? Good evening, Jeff. Good, how are you?
Good evening, I'm Jeff Ryder with BSS Design, representing the Camiolos tonight. Also with me is Jen Malilla in the front row. She'll be presenting the planting plan a little later tonight. So this project is another RAZE, raise and reconstruct. This is an existing house, dates back to about 1960. There's a little picture of it, part of it up there in the photograph. It's basically a one-story with a walkout, with a very large pool and patio out the back. So not only does the house come down, but the pool and all that patio, I should say patios, because there's not many, they're all going to be demoed and removed off-site. So it's an existing 5-bedroom. We're going back with a 5-bedroom. I got a little picture here. You get one of these down to Jen. There's only 7.
You got one for everybody?
I think there might be.
Okay. You got the one?
That's drawn by John Dvorak. It's a 1.5 story from the front. Again, it's going to match the same grading as the existing with a walkout basement. So from the back it would be 2.5 stories, but we're looking at it from the front in this picture. The architectural plans are early on, so I don't have a full set, but this gives you an idea of the scope of the project and the style of the house. One of the things here, I'm going to have to go over to the picture here. What you see in red is the existing footprint of the house, patio on either side. Out the back is a walkout. You'll see the grading comes down. There's a large patio that surrounds this pool. I believe the pool still has a cover on it. It's been shut down, so I wasn't able to tell if there's water in it. I couldn't even get into it to take a look. So you can see the construction from a patio is going all the way back 60 feet. So there'll be no hardscape in the backyard except for the patio underneath the deck and protruding out there. So what you see in green here is the proposed house, and you're looking at it. Here's the garage, and then you see the rest of that facade across there. There's an existing 1960s septic, most likely a cesspool with a pipe or two off of it. That's coming out. We'll be putting back a Title V here. Soils aren't ideal on the first 15 feet or so, so that'll be stripped out and put back with sand and a new system. Limit of work is shown here, stake straw bales, and that's the limit of work for the equipment to build the house and to demo the pool. Because Jen will tell you she's going to be planting, some native plantings out seaward of the limit of work. To give you an idea, here's a walkway, there's two of these existing walkways, they're coming out as well. So all those hardscapes are going to be deleted. There's some calculations here. When we computed all the calculations there's a reduction in impervious surfaces by 640 square feet. You'll also see that in the zoning notes down here for existing proposed structures, paving, and parking, that it's actually going down in percentage from 25.9 to basically 26 to 23.5%. That's mainly due to the removal of the big patio and the pool in the back. Let me see. Of course, we have dry wells for the roof runoff. There's a detail on the page as well for that. Talked about, certainly we have an improvement project, I believe. I'd say it's a major improvement. Again, a reduction of 640 square feet of impervious surface. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to Jen, and she'll present the planting plan.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Malilla from Centerline Studios. The planting plan consists of, some non-invasive ornamentals along with some natives, even though we did not have any sort of mitigation requirements, and we're in the negative. The yellow highlighted area represents mitigation native plantings. I have a plant list off to the left, which consists of Virginia rose, bayberry, and beach plum. So we would just supplement, some of the areas that are out beyond the fence, remove the Rosa rugosa, and add some of those native plants I just mentioned there. Also, this whole area, there's so much lawn that it just really needs plantings anyway. So the client would like to do some down here on the south border, right up against the property line, and do a mix of natives, and then in front of that, maybe, something a little more ornamental. I think the total comes to over 1,000 square feet of mitigation, even though we don't need it, or native plantings that we are proposing. Again, Jeff said that we're ripping out the pool and all the patio, and they would like to put just lawn back in. And there's a product called Black Beauty Lawn, which is very high fescue content. It's drought resistant and requires very little water. There's currently an irrigation system on the property, so I would imagine they would just restore that. We do have a little bit of site lighting. It's all low voltage. There is no uplights behind the house at all. The only uplights would be out here by the road on a couple Coosa dogwoods. Retaining wall. Yeah. The circular area is the fire pit. The client's desire is to have a fire pit out there, so it would be some sort of patio with the fire pit in the center. It doesn't go beyond the concrete of the pool patio, so we're not, putting anything seaward of what's already there. We are proposing a retaining wall here, which, depending on cost and approval, would hold up the bank. The site really just rolls in every which direction. It would be nice to sort of slow down some of that rolling. So we do have, a flatter area here, a flatter area here before everything just rolls away. So we are proposing that for the grading purposes and to let the house sit on the site properly and, just seep a little bit better into the lawn. The driveway is impervious. The client desires to have a pea stone driveway, not an asphalt driveway, so that will really help with any water out in that area. This side of the house is mostly for utilities, AC and generator. There is a small patio here for grilling. Again, all the impervious that Jeff calculated, we are not going over with all of these things. It's all far less. There would be a stair down to the walkout level here and another patio here, a landing to get back up to this level. There's also a Rosa rugosa patch right here that we would just like to remove and supplement with Virginia rose instead, over here, a little bit closer to the riprap area. The fences are being removed because there's no more pools, so there's a fence here that would come out, a fence for some portion that would come out to here. There's an existing fence currently off the property that they have no way to remove, so that's staying, obviously. And then a piece of it up here, but they are keeping a portion of it, so we don't need all that fencing without the pool.
Okay, this is all on here.
Any questions?
Jen?
The only concern I have is that removal of the area where the Rosa rugosa is on that northern corner.
Mhm.
Not leaves, you're taking all of that out and most of it's being replaced with lawn. But you are adding the 5 Virginia rose, a number of Virginia rose on there. And more natives, so I'm okay with that. No, I don't have any questions. I think it's a good project. It'll greatly improve that area.
Thanks, Jim. Jamie?
I don't have anything.
What's that?
Thank you.
Laurie?
I had the same question Jen did, but I think it's a good project, but where the Rosa rugosa is, you're removing 400 square feet of Rosa rugosa. And I don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't continue to plant more native plants down there. That's an awful lot of lawn.
We are planting this here, and this whole buffer here would be supplemented. So there is...
Show me where the buffer is going to be supplemented.
There's a fence that runs right here where there's...
Okay, I just don't see any plants there.
There's a note that says, remove non-natives, including Rosa rugosa, supplement with 5 Virginia rose, 5 beach plum, 5 bayberry. So that's in addition to these ones that are shown right here, and in addition to the ones shown here and here.
Well, you should have put them on the plan, because then I wouldn't have...
They're on the plan.
They're not on there. They're not shown physically on the plan.
Yeah.
Yes, I see them, but
Yeah.
honestly, for the landscapers that are going to probably do this, they're going to look at this plan, and that's what they're going to plant. So you
Yeah.
really, I know, I'm in the field with it. When you have the bayberry, you have it over here, too. You have I thought that the bayberry was along the side here. I didn't see any planting out here. So you're telling me that these bayberries, the beach plum, the Prunus maritima, and the Miraca pennsylvanicas are going to be out here?
They're going to be where the yellow is, and then field placed in and amongst the existing vegetation in this zone.
Well, why wouldn't you have put it on the plan?
Because they're going to be field placed, and it's not specific, like I don't have a survey of, like there's some existing natives out there that aren't located on the
Maybe you could put them all right
survey.
up on the lawn.
What's that?
Maybe they could just keep going, I don't know. I just think that getting rid of 400 square feet of Rosa rugosa that is habitat in spite of the fact they are invasive, if you're going to get rid of them, in an A buffer, then they should be replaced with plants, so.
Well, I do have at least 300 square feet of Virginia rose in the same zone on the lawn side of the fence, so we are removing lawn to put
They're-
300 square feet of those. That's 300 square feet.
They're
That's
3 gallon,
currently lawn.
3 gallon, 5 foot on center of Virginia and a rose, right?
No, they're 3.5 foot on center, or 4. It would be about 4 foot on center, or 3.5.
They're 4, yeah. They're 4 foot on center, okay. I mean, I'm happy to see the bayberry, that you have 5 gallon, which I hope they survive, because the bigger the plant in that harsh environment, the less the survival rate is. Smaller and more is better than bigger and less, but obviously, you're the designer, I'm not, but if they don't live, you're gonna be replanting them. But again, the removal of the Rosa rugosa and adding lawn, I'm still concerned about. Other than that, I think it's a nice plan. And, oh, did you have a fill calculation for all the change of the? I know it's not huge, but
I
usually we
don't
just
have
ask
it.
for
It's
fill
like,
cal.
just like you said, it is not huge because it's a similar footprint, and it's going to mimic the same walkout in the
Okay.
back, so it's going to, there's going to be an excess.
It's actually just sort
We're
of
gonna haul some
smoothing it out.
Back in here, you certainly, well, we're going to have to fill the pool, and, you know, there's going to be more excavation here than there is house, so we'll probably put some here, but in the end, you're going to haul some off-site.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that would be a, kind of an awkward calculation to come up with that one, but
Yeah, no, I didn't, I just was looking at the side of the house that you have a lot of contours changes. I mean, they're not extreme.
no, they're
At
just
all, they're
kind of.
like a foot, foot and a half.
It's more or less the same grading, it's
Yeah.
just sort of manipulated to go into the new
Right, yeah.
backyard.
And you didn't have to show a reserve?
No, this is 5 bedroom
Existing.
for 5 bedrooms, so
Yep.
it's an upgrade.
So they don't make you show the reserve? Okay,
And-
thank you.
And I haven't taken away area set aside for a septic, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep.
I mean, it's a conforming system, it's an upgrade.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Maureen. Kristen?
I just had a question about where the edge of the lawn comes, and you were going to do something here to grade it. Can you explain that?
I don't know where you're referring
You
to.
said on both sides here that it was going to be graded for the,
Well, right here, just sort of the whole property, just, except for this, just rolls. So we're just going to flatten this for whatever that is, 10 or 12 feet, and put a very small retaining wall, and then let the grade do what it's going to do beyond that.
so there'll be a retaining wall out of
Right
rock
here.
or?
A masonry
Out of
retaining wall.
masonry?
Mhm.
Okay. And then plantings below that, or?
Just one small row.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Kristen. Courtney?
This is in a pretty exposed area, isn't it? I know I'm perhaps committing some kind of a heresy here, particularly from the standpoint of the commission. But, you know, I'm looking at the Rosa rugosa there, they're perfectly healthy. Why dig it up and disturb the soil and put them back? It wasn't so many years ago that a project like this would come in, and it was kind of like going to confession. You'd come in, you'd get your project approved, and the answer was, thank you very much, good project, say 10 Hail Marys, donate $20 to the town, and plant 50 Rosa rugosas. It was back in the 90s.
It was.
Okay? So, and now we've determined that they're not good. So, now you're gonna tear them up, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. My personal feeling is leave those alone. They thrive in that environment like a lot of other plants don't, and you're gonna have problems with them growing. That's my personal feeling, and I'm sorry that I've thrown a monkey wrench into the PC plant list, but that's my thing.
You're so not sorry.
Anyway.
We're giving back 1,030 unwarranted mitigation plants.
No, I'm saying,
1,030
it's
square
funny
feet.
how- I mean, quite
Well,
honestly,
they're
this isn't your
native.
problem. It's our perception of what's appropriate has changed.
Yeah.
Is really the point. And I'm not so, and I know that Rosa Rugosa have been here since 1786, and they thrive. And maybe they're technically invasive, but they're all over the place. We insisted on their going in, and they thrive in harsh environment, and they're a habitat. I just don't personally see any good reason to remove them.
Thanks, Court. Betsy?
Well, since we're in the mode of throwing monkey wrenches in, did you go out there, Courtney? There's a lot of Japanese knotweed
in there.
all over.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm all for removing those.
That's all I had. So my question to you is, how are you going to get rid of the Japanese knotweed?
I don't have an answer for that yet. I'm not sure. If you
Okay,
can give recommendations, that would be great.
Well, I see that as your most difficult
Yeah, I'd
thing to
much rather
tackle
see
there.
that stuff.
I mean, you don't want to get it, believe me, you don't want to get it anywhere near your new construction. So- So
Then
this-
will probably be conditioned that you supply a methodology prior
Yeah.
to starting your.
Yeah.
work, so.
I'd
And
have
the
to ask
sooner
the
they can
landscape
attack it,
expert.
the better. So there's,
There are some different approaches you can take and we can talk about that.
Yeah,
that's all.
Oh, that's if you got a Board of Health permit.
Thanks, Betsy. Mary?
You mentioned that there's existing irrigation, and is it in the area of the pool that it's going to take care of the new lawn, or?
I'm sure it's not in the concrete, so it's,
Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of
Yeah.
space there where there probably isn't irrigation, and I
Yeah.
don't know what we would be allowing in that kind of a circumstance.
yeah. Well, I know that it hasn't been turned on in a long time, that's why the lawn is declining, because the homeowners just closed, but I know it's all through here, and I would hope that we would just be able to add to the system and cover that area, even if it meant peripheral and spraying, extra spraying, or, it would be nice to just make sure it thrives. Black Beauty does not need a lot of irrigation at all.
Right.
So,
Actually, it doesn't need any.
yeah, it just needs to
Just
get
a question of
established.
what's allowable
Yeah.
in this location.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Goes dormant.
I also, this is really picky, I know, but on your plan, you're talking about mitigation plant list, and when you don't have mitigation, I think you should just call it native planting list. It's not mitigation for anything. And the last thing, hearkening back to Tom Corriveau.
Well, you saw a pipe.
No, it's not a pipe, it's site management.
There you go. That's a good point.
It's site management. It's an incredibly exposed, windy site, and this is for you so much as everybody. You're really going to have to batten down the hatches and keep things, put a thought and effort into keeping
You
things
tie down the porta potty.
under control.
Yeah.
Right.
Up
Cover
there
on
you're
the, a
gonna
lot of times, we used to require covers on the dumpsters,
That's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
especially with insulation.
Just
Mark, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I see that it looks like the shower's on the north side of the house.
Mhm.
Is that planned to be enclosed?
I don't believe so. It'll be open on top.
Has to be open on all sides, or else you have to have an appropriate grade water disposal system with
No, that's, no.
it.
No.
Well, you can call it a rinse station.
If you call it a rinse station, you don't have to do that.
If it's a rinse, right, but
Correct.
if you close it, most people look at that as saying people are going to be using soap, and therefore,
That's a Board of Health issue, and I think the
Right.
town of Mashpee implies that. We don't do that here.
But it should be called a rinse station. rather
Should be
than
called a rinse station, the shower.
An
'cause a shower-
RS rather than a
Yeah.
SH.
And shower implies a drain,
right.
so we changed it to rinse station with the state, so.
Russ, I just had one question.
Hopefully, just note that in the border.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
Jeff, quick question, did you already get your Board of Health permit?
No, no.
Okay, then will they require you to have an H20 tank because it's 5 feet from the driveway?
That's sort of a policy, but it's not a requirement.
Requirement, okay, so you'll catch it there if they want, okay, thank you.
Do me a favor, quick.
Would it be good?
Betsy, I'm gonna send these photos down, and put them in the file for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to make a motion. May I make a motion?
Well, actually, I just wanted to ask her again on the knotweed, because there, I mean, they should have some kind of plan to eradicate it.
No, she just discussed it.
Okay.
She's going to discuss the plan, and it's going to be
Perfect.
in the order.
Okay,
Yeah, they're gonna have to submit an improved methodology to
Okay.
mark that.
they're gonna want to get rid of it.
Yeah, there are different approaches, so we can guide them.
Okay, thank you.
They'll
That's-
have to write it and submit it before they sign off on the building permit, so.
Pretty
You got
helpful.
something else, Jamie?
You have an issue with that?
Create steps in the riprap? I didn't.
Okay.
How are they gonna create them?
No.
Are they gonna be wood, are they gonna be made stone?
It's a stone
These would be,
riprap.
right in the stonework itself. It doesn't show it well, but I noted, I went to a location down here with just a little bit of shuffling around, you can get a good little couple of steps. It's only about 3 feet in height that we have to take care of this. It's going to be handwork.
So it's just
So using it as a-
manually moving stuff around.
These aren't big, huge boulders, by the way.
No.
There are some big ones, but not down in here,
How are you gonna do it?
by hand,
Okay.
in a bar.
A crowbar? Okay.
I make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
We have a motion by Betsy and a second by Mary, I think. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote to close the hearing, take it under advisement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, next we have a bunch of them, too. Request to extend the existing order of conditions. Nina's Marina, 306 Scranton Ave, Falmouth, Mass. DEP number 25-3611, requesting 1-year extension. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are recommending a one-year extension.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Maury, second by Betsy to grant the extension. Any other comments or questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Mr. Chairman, to save yourself, just, I approved the next three all at once, so.
Oh, yeah, I see it, 8 Wigwam,
Yeah, I
yep.
do the 93, 95 Indian Ridge and 8 Wigwam, and just give the DEP number.
Okay, so we'll do Wigwam Sipawissa Trust 93 and 95, and that is DEP number 25-3603. And then Wigwam Sipawissa Trust 8 Wigwam, 25-3590. Wigwam Trust 8 Wigwam, DEP number 25-3612.
And these are all the projects that revolve around the house, including the restoration of native plants in between the barns and property and this property, creation of half the lagoon in the house itself.
So
And I
that-
would recommend a one-year extension. They're still working on that.
Okay, so this is ongoing
Oh,
work. Yep.
So moved.
Second. I just had one quick question. Is that the one that has that was supposed to have, it has riprap on it? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Supposed to have a
It
sign.
needs to have a sign. And if it doesn't have a sign,
Every time I go out there, I tell them that they need their public access sign.
then
Every
guess
time.
what? I'm not gonna make then they shouldn't get an extension, because they haven't, that should have to be the first thing they do.
This isn't the revetment project, though.
Well, then get them an enforcement, because it's been how many years out there?
Okay. I will let
People
them know.
complain all the
I will
time.
let them know.
And it actually says no trespassing, I think. They can put that sign up, but they can't put the public access sign up.
That's a good point.
That's a good
I'm
point.
sure I saw that.
Yeah.
Some signs are easier than others.
It's much easier to put no trespassing. They sell those at the hardware store.
All right,
I
so,
will contact Keith Engstrom and ask him
to place the public access sign.
I think the word should be tell.
I will inform him that he is.
I'm only being-
required to place- How about that?
Yeah. He is required, and I'm going to go out and check
He's not,
it.
his client is.
Yes,
Maybe at the bottom of the no trespassing.
sign. It's been like 7 years, 8 years.
Okay, so we have a motion by Betsy.
I seconded it.
Maura, you did second, I'm so you
Yep.
didn't withdraw, okay. Any other comments or questions from the board, comments, questions from the public? So I'm going to call for the vote to extend all three of these for 1 year. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. Abstentions
No.
unanimous, so moved. Oh, Courtney.
Courtney was
Voting
One no.
No sign, no approval.
Okay.
I will go out there this week. If it's not, I'm going to lose it.
So it's 6-1? You all set, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay. Acapesca Improved Association, 0 Vineyard Street, Falmouth, Mass., DEP number 25-3958, request a 1-year extension. John? Why do I think that was some sort of beach?
No,
It
yeah,
is because of
no,
the zero.
sorry, I just
This
caught
beach
something.
thing.
Yeah.
I just.
I can't believe this is already
Yes,
3 years.
1 year extension, this is beach management activities.
Yeah,
So,
moved.
second.
I can't believe it's
I know,
been
that's,
3 years. It seems like last
I
year that
know.
we did that one.
I
Doesn't it?
know.
yeah,
We just have so much fun at Flies.
wow,
I know.
I know Wigwam's been like 8 years.
wow. Okay, so did I get a motion on that?
Yep.
And then we get a second? Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? So I'll call for the motion, vote to extend for 1 year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Other business. Review and discuss the Perch Pond Preservation, Inc.'s complaint of an open meeting law violation.
Yes, you all received this, the First Pond Preservation Inc. has filed a complaint, will be filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office stating a open meeting violation. Basically, it was, we sent an email off to the clerk's office at 2:43 for a 3 o'clock meeting on Thursday, for a 3 o'clock meeting on Monday. The clerk's office posted that at 3:20. So, 20 minutes late. This, actually, the complaint says the notice was filed with the town clerk at 3:20. That is incorrect. The notice was filed with the town clerk by us at 2:43, and we have the email. Pat has asked that the board make a motion. So, Mr. Chairman, if you want to read the 2 motions that I've given you. If
Yep.
you're not, okay. So basically, Pat wants you to refer the matter to her to ascertain the time, date, place, and circumstances which constitute the alleged violation and respond to the complaint. And then she would like you to ratify the vote. So Russell can walk you through those 2 motions.
Okay, so the first one would be,
And you all got a copy of the complaint and read it? Okay.
so the first is to move to refer this matter to town council, ask town council to ascertain time, date, place, circumstance which constitutes the alleged violation, and respond to the complaint in accordance with the open meeting law.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion. Is she gonna need that?
Yeah,
You
she
want a
has
copy
it.
of that? Okay, I'll give you this one.
I seconded it.
You can just give her the text of that, so it gets in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hand it right to her. Okay. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions?
Council to pursue complaint.
Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on this, on the motion to refer to town council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Okay, second part of this is move to ratify and confirm the commission's denial order of the conditions to Perch Pond Preservation, Inc., SC 25-4142, voted at the July 14th public meeting.
That would be quorum, no?
No, we questioned Pat about this.
Oh, 'cause
It's
you're
the
only doing-
July 18th.
Okay, for some reason it's on, why does it say 14 on mine?
She just got the wrong date.
Oh, okay.
It's the July 18th meeting.
See what happens? I'd have gone right over the bridge if Pat was leading me. So, okay, so
And
I'll
Pat,
correct.
the entire board can ratify the decision, that was the vote that was taken, the decision that was made, and it does not just need to be the quorum that voted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before you ask me that question.
So we'll change that to July 18th, that correction's been made, okay. So any,
So moved.
Second.
so motion by Jamie and second by Maury. Any other comments or questions? Questions? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Mr. Chairman, can you send that one down for me, and I'll just give mine to.
Yep. I think that, I have that email anyway, so
Yep.
I'll just
Thank you.
use that. All right.
She has other business review and approved minutes of July 18th at the public meeting, and you did that earlier.
did that in the beginning.
Yes. Yep. Okay, vote orders condition. I think, Betsy, you can leave.
Well, thank you, I will. Have a wonderful time, everyone.
Thank you, Betsy.
There's not very motive, so he doesn't have to worry about his little timepiece.
Yeah.
I'll see you
Good night,
next week.
Sam.
Night, Sam, can you that?
Why not?
I feel like Betsy gets to leave, I get to leave.
This is about the deep.
Okay.
Okay, vote orders conditions.
I'll see her outside. See? She wasn't gonna be able to
405 Shorewood Drive.
Go too if you want, but I'm sure you'd
Ooh.
love
I wanna watch
to
this.
stay. Okay.
This is a different process than I'm used to.
No, it's okay. We'll go over that on Monday.
Yep. 405 Shorewood Drive. Was there a quorum on this?
There must be.
Jamie, Mary, Russ, Maury, Kristen, Courtney.
Okay,
Just one day.
cool. I didn't know if somebody else was.
All three of them.
All right.
Shorewood.
The only note I had on this was about sonotubes.
Hand dig sonotubes is all I had, right?
Yeah, this is the second time they come before us or something with,
No, this is the one where he added all the little stepping stones.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
There
very
was a bunch of
straightforward.
additions on the front end of the house, including a hickey door on. Proposed addition on.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep. He's trying to kind of square it all off, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I remember this.
There
They
was,
didn't have to do any mitigation, so it's a fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
order. They'll have all your
Alright, so
normal
s-
standard.
The only thing was, hand dig the sonotubes was on Jamie's and my notes.
Which one?
Sonotubes dug by hand was,
Oh,
for
yeah.
some reason, Jamie and I both had that on our notes.
Is that the sonotubes for the little steps in the back?
Out the back,
Out the
yeah.
back.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Nothing further from Father Bird? He's okay down there?
They don't count,
Why are you poking the bear?
they can't include those little stepstones as impervious surface for future addition, right? Because they have a lot of them.
Oh, with the stepping stones?
Yeah,
I think
re-
he added them up.
what's the question? He said it would be 50 to 60 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was traded for something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was, I
The
think.
driveway.
Those,
Yeah, there's moving,
okay.
a lot of driveway.
Anything else? Anybody want to make a
I
motion?
make a motion to accept as discussed.
Second.
Motion by Maureen, a second by Jamie. Approve as discussed. Any other comments or questions? Okay, here now, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Next is 418 Minot Road. Dalapa.
Okay, this was, the rebuild of the dock that's mangled at the end, Green Pond Bridge. They wanted to rebuild the dock in accordance with the original approved order of conditions that had a 18 by 18 foot float, something like that.
Yeah.
It was an enormous float. Unfortunately, the applicant did not provide a lot of the information the board was looking for, including sounding on that. And there is documentation that's in the file, and the applicant does have copies of it all, that basically states that the dock was built without a valid building permit from the town, and it was built after the order of conditions expired. So basically, the board needs to determine whether or not you will allow them to rebuild the dock in the original footprint with a float that is substantially larger than you would allow now, or would you like them to come back under your current regulations and put a dock in forms. They're also asking for a certificate of compliance. We can't issue a certificate of compliance until the dock is constructed.
I know, that's kind of like catch-22. It doesn't make any,
It doesn't make any sense.
no.
I'm not quite sure why they did that. They had originally filed the certificate of compliance and were told we can't issue it with the dock being in the condition that it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's with all the hearings and all the confusion, that's basically what it comes down to. The board has to determine whether the dock is legally constructed, and then if so, do you want them to rebuild it in kind, or if not, have them come back and build a structure that's compliant with your current regulations?
Yeah, it's like corny.
Obviously, I got pretty wound up on this one last week or whenever it was. But I would like to make a couple of comments here that I find troubling. And that is that the applicant failed to demonstrate, and I think the burden was on the applicant, that, the work was begun during the time when the order of conditions was in effect. I don't see how you can build something to comply with an order that's expired. There's no order, there's nothing to comply with. So my sense about that, given the tortured history of all of that, is that, clearly, the engineer who's made the suggestion that, well, what we're really trying to do is to bring this, clean up a mess. And that's fine, I agree with that. And I think the easiest way to clean up a mess is to, they want to put a dock in, then it has to comply and meet our current regulations. Simple as that. And that's clean, it's there. So my suggestion would be that we deny the application, and then we tell them that they have to come back with a plan for a dock that meets our current regulations.
I agree.
Mr. Chair,
Mary.
I would agree, and I just make the following point. The argument was that the existing dock, before it was damaged, was in substantial compliance with whatever permit it was they had. It wasn't really to spec. And there was also testimony given at the final hearing that, it's been like this and like that. It's been a variety of different ways over the years. So I'm just not in favor of, because we don't even know what it is, that they're asking for based on all the different possibilities.
One of the issues the staff had when the original certificate of compliance came in was that because the float that was sitting on the marsh that only took them maybe a year and a half to get rid of.
Yeah, and that was about a week before we had the next hearing.
Clearly a different configuration that was originally permitted, that we couldn't possibly give them compliance because we didn't know what was going on out there. So that's why we said that, and the fact that the dock is so badly damaged, and they're gonna have to install new pilings and all of that, that we felt the notice of intent was the appropriate course of action. And we basically argued this point for about a year and a half with the applicant, because they did not want to file a new notice of intent.
Right. They didn't even want to put soundings on their plan.
No, and I think we asked them what we asked
Yes.
about them the first time.
Yes, we did.
Or the mooring field.
No.
Or the mooring
We
field,
worked
right.
with people to get them
Good call.
fixed, but this one was a little too far, and there was floats that didn't match, so there were reasons why the staff said, no, you need to follow the notice.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at some stage of the game in this entire history, there was an order from somebody to remove it.
Well, it was the building commissioner, John
It was denied,
Alcott.
it was denied by the town and
Yeah, so,
addressed.
I mean, I think
that was
not only
delivered
do
to the
we
current
deny the
Yes.
thing, I think part of our denial
Oh,
order
was it?
should be that
The what?
they're required to remove the existing dock. And then, then they can start over and have a clean slate, do it right, get it permitted and so forth. May not be exactly what they want because the regulations are different, but, that's the challenge they face.
Right.
The other issue was that if you, in the notice, in the narrative, is the fence was obviously never permitted either, so, and that's all in the no-touch zone, so. I would have to concur with Courtney, the environmental impact that this current dock is doing, we would be much better served for them to remove the illegally built dock and come in front of us for a new permit, and apply for a permit for a dock under our regulations. And that's what I would make as a
Would this be
motion.
enforcement and denial, or just denial?
Just deny.
Just denying.
Jen, did you,
Float's gone.
the original question, question that Jamie had was the removal letter sent to the Delapis? Or was it?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, it was sent to the
Okay.
Delapis.
So there's no deniability on that
Here, I
part.
have the
Right.
record.
I am not certain of this, but my recollection is that they were also simultaneously requesting approval of the fence after the
Yep.
fact.
They were.
You are.
Okay, so,
And again, if you're not going to allow the dock, you can't allow the fence, because
Right,
they're
okay.
both built without permits.
Right.
And be
Right.
consistent.
The,
And they can apply,
yeah.
okay, so the house and the dock were permitted under the same order.
Was the house built
Wait a
or
minute.
begun during the
No, I'm sorry.
period of the order?
Can't be right.
I'm not sure.
Well, that,
Wait, give me 1 second, please. No, it was. Approval is to construct a single-family dwelling and to build and maintain a dock, ramp, and float. The order of conditions
July
was
14th,
issued to,
1983.
bear with me, Nicholas Stivaleta on June, wait, on July,
14th,
what was it, July something?
14th, 1983.
14th, 1983. In February 4th of 1985, the Stivalettas were given stop work on the house. In 88, March 1st, 88, Joanne C. and Anthony F. DeLapa were informed that they had the building permit that was issued, requested in 87, after the order of conditions had expired, and they were denied that permit, and then the dock showed up, and then this letter was in 88.
But you just said the house and the dock were on the same permit.
They were on the same permit, but the property changed hands before the dock was built.
so
And
the
what was
house,
the
was the
permit
house
rescinded
constructed?
for?
Right, well, what was that, Jane?
Because it expired.
No, it's okay, what was that?
What was the building permit rescinded for? Or what was the stop work order about?
This stop work order to the civil
It was
letters.
expired, I think.
Reference
I
to the
don't know.
above project, I have placed upon the premises a stop work order. The reason for these actions is as follows. You were issued a building permit for the location in August 8th of 83, on May 3rd of 84, some 6 months after the legal expiration of same. My predecessor renewed the permit. Section 113.9 outlines the legal timeframe for the permits as well as the extension itself. The reference permit expired 90 days after the renewal on or about August 3rd, '84. Subsequent to that date, a foundation was placed on the premises. My inspection of the same indicates that your foundation is located in the federally designated flood zone. The foundation was not constructed in accordance with floodplain regulations of the state building code, zoning bylaws, or FEMA. Based on the above, you are hereby notified that you are in violation of the state building code as well as zoning bylaws of Falmouth. Without a valid permit, you must first make a complete application to the building permit, a complete application for a building permit to this office. So, they were done together. You got to stop work on the house. The property changed hands to the Valampas. The dock hadn't been built yet. Permit expired. They asked for a building permit for the dock. They were denied the building permit for the dock, and then they built the dock
anyway. And then then in 88, they were asked to remove
But
it.
they were denied a building permit for the dock because the order
There's no
of
order.
conditions had expired.
Yeah, I think that, from what I've heard, there's a lot of good points, Courtney, here. I mean,
But
they want a clean slate, they might as well start over again.
No, it's fine. I'm
Clean
just
it all up.
Trying to understand it all.
Like Mr. Bird said, it's a tortured district.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we want to go there as far as the house is concerned, because some question.
No, that's not in front of us, well, I was curious about, do they even have an occupancy for that? And I'm sure by now, maybe they've,
We didn't look at occupancy for the house.
well, again, that's not before us,
Yeah.
but just
We were just
curiosity.
kind of concerned, we were just focusing on this damaged dock that had a float in the salt.
So I think what we're gonna have to do here, we're gonna have to have a positive motion put forward.
Yep, put positive motion on the floor, and if you don't want to approve the dock, don't vote for it.
But then I think if we don't approve the dock, I think we've got to have a provision then it has to be.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put it in, if you don't approve the dock and you want it removed, we'll write a denial and ask
So-
them to remove the dock. It's fine, Courtney.
Yeah.
We've already discussed removing it, so.
Right. I'll move that we approve the order as proposed.
Discussed.
Discussed, yeah.
No, it's
proposed.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying, right. Yep.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Courtney and a second by Maury. Any other discussion?
So just to be clear, a yes vote would mean that we'd be approving their request.
Correct.
A no vote would mean we are not approving it.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, all those in favor of the application signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
No. Abstentions? So we have a unanimous disapproval, I guess. Denial, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mary. It's nice to have a wordsmith next to me.
Now was the,
Hold on one thing. I think I want a subsequent motion that we ask them to remove the dock.
okay,
Okay,
I mean, or order them to remove the dock.
okay.
okay. You want to make that motion?
So move.
Okay,
And let's use the word order, not ask.
okay. So we have a motion by Courtney an order to remove the dock. Do I get a second?
I'm going to second that, but I would like some discussion.
Okay, we're going to discuss it.
The only thing is they immediately apply, and the bones of that, which is the ramp, are all fine. To have them remove it all is more of an environmental impact than to leave it and add the dock if we allow the dock. I don't know, I'm just concerned that if we make them rip it all out, and then they apply for a dock, and then they put it right back in the same
Can we
footprint,
give them a time frame for reapplication?
and then, or it has to be removed.
Can we
Or-
give them
Well,
less
they
than a
could,
3-year?
if they remove the dock and its piles, then they could just flush cut the piles, they wouldn't have to dig them out.
Okay.
So I have a question, though. I mean, there could be less piles on a new dock.
Correct,
Correct.
correct.
So,
Yeah, I think rather than asking them to
I see,
Yeah.
but if the less
physically
piles-
yank the piles out of the marsh, which I agree would be, you just have them flush cut.
Flush cut them and, okay. Then that way I would agree to, than to go in there and muck around ripping them all out.
And what
That
about
could
the
be,
fence,
I'll add that to the motion.
which they're asking,
That has to just be, that's not even permittable.
yeah, okay, right.
Okay, so I'll add that to the motion, that they remove the existing dock and that the piles, any piles that are there be flush cut with grade.
That's not a
As opposed to
navigation
removal.
area, though, is it? It's pretty much up against the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the problem is we don't know the depths because he never provided the soundings either road
Well,
to the
yeah,
end.
I think the original chapter 91, it was 1.4 feet of water or something
Okay, so it
there.
wouldn't be dangerous?
No.
to-
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
a lot of muck in there too. Okay, so we have a motion by,
Are we including the fence too?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
we have a motion by Courtney. Susan, did you get that whole thing about flush cutting and all that? Okay, and Maury seconded that. So any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Mark?
Is there a possibility that you could put a time limit on them coming in with a new notice of intent for a dock which meets current standards, rather than taking the old out or even demolishing it? If, for instance, all the pilings that go across the marsh could in fact be used in a new dock structure?
That's what Maureen was
What we were just discussing.
That's exactly what Maureen was saying.
It might be certainly much better on the Falmouth resident than having them cut it all out and then put it right back in again. If we
Well,
leave it close enough.
what we don't know,
The problem is that could sit there for a long
Long
time
time,
with
yeah.
nothing happening.
and the
just
other
like-
thing is, what we really don't know is whether they approve a new
60
plan.
days or cut it out.
Yeah, I mean,
New plan.
all we're doing is saying, no, they can't do what they want, and we're telling them they have to remove what's there. There's no guarantee that they can put anything back.
That's exactly.
We don't know what they're gonna propose. They may not propose anything.
They just got a shelter.
Correct.
I was just thinking, we put a timeframe on it, so if within
No,
60
I
days-
think you're better off, they've had enough timeframes and
This is
stuff in the
back-
past.
This is what,
Well,
20
Let's
some odd
make it,
years?
keep it simple.
They're not at all impressed with this.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good idea.
I mean,
It's just-
really, I would go either way. On that.
Just one second. Let me just look at the chapter 90. They never had a chapter 91 license either.
No, they don't have a chapter 91 license, they have an Army Corps permit that
Right.
was issued after the expiration of the order of condition. They do not have a Army Corps, chapter 91 license. They stated that at the hearing that they were seeking to get it licensed by chapter 91.
So if they flush cut it, it would be maintaining the structure except for what's above the water, right? So that would,
They flush cut it.
There's no structure below the water.
At the level, so it's done.
Yeah, as opposed to the environmental impact
Right.
of digging them out.
Right.
all right.
So anything
Sounds
new they
good.
propose would have to be all new. Period.
Put less piles and all that good stuff. too.
And they'd have a bigger span.
Yeah. So-
And I was trying to find the chapter 91.
There isn't a chapter 91.
No, I meant the drawing that they had for the Army Corps.
Oh, I think I've got it.
Ask me for it.
Okay, sorry. Because I was just curious what, they had soundings on that, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. There it is, yes,
Yeah.
they did. And it was,
I just had it.
yeah, it's right
It's
here.
at the back of this bad Xerox.
Yeah.
And it is,
It's the last couple pages.
actually, I thought it did, but it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It has nothing.
Because we had
Yeah,
asked, I thought
Where?
we had asked them to come back with soundings.
Right up next to the dock, 1.5.
I thought it was
1.4,
1.5.
1.9,
Am I
1.9,
looking?
2.3, 2.3.
Okay.
Right here.
No wonder
Okay.
they didn't put it on their plan.
Yeah. All right, and how far out is that from the,
Oh, come on.
you know, yeah.
I don't even know if this is scale. No, it's not.
No, this has been shrunk down, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, okay.
You
all
you
right.
can't scale.
Come on, Jen. All right, then
Yeah, get control of him all night. Are you having-
then I would have to, the removal, I would have to, and say removal.
Except for the road.
It won't make it, anyway. They won't have 3.5 feet out.
So, we
Okay.
have this motion hanging.
We have a motion hanging in a second, right? And can you read that to us quick?
To remove the existing dock and fence and flush cut the pilings at the Dunphy level instead of removing them.
Okay.
Yeah, flush it.
And you'll say, and it has to go to appropriate
That's
site
exactly
and all
what I
that.
said.
Yep, that's exactly what you said.
Okay. So any other discussion on this? So I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote then, to order them to remove and flush cut the pilings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Very good. What disposes of that? 11 Ottawa Lane.
This is to approve the changes to the mitigation, some of the planting along the proposed driveway that staff has requested, and the planting plan for the punch bowl. The only thing was the uplighting of the oak and the lighting along that existing patio, except isn't that lighting the downlighting, like they did on the
Yeah.
fire pit?
Yeah, the low voltage, like 18 volts or
The
something.
only concern was for 2 uplights on OCL4 for a specific location.
So I have a question about this uplighting. What is the purpose of that? Is
It
it just-
accents the tree.
That's just a tree at night, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just bring up something about lighting in general? Not necessarily to this one, but I'm wondering if there is something that we should be discussing with the wetland effect of lighting outside of a home. You know, adding light to the environment outside of a home on a wetland bank, on a coastal bank. Isn't that something we should be conditioning because of the environmental impact?
You can, it's something we can discuss and put into a regular order of conditions. I don't think some of the lighting that they proposed on the patio or going down to the fire pit is that intrusive, given the floodlights on houses and everything.
Right.
But I get, because I know we had the uplighting issue in North Falmouth. No, I'm sorry, West Falmouth, where
Well,
we denied the uplighting of a tree there.
I'm just asking in general, not specifically for this, in general.
In general, the board can have a discussion and the staff can do some research if you want us to.
But if it's for safety, in other words, it's walking paths, and
Oh, yeah, you want to put some
Did-
low-level lighting.
what
on
he
it,
gave
like
us
if
was
you're
like
going out
18
on
volts.
a-
It was very, very low.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't,
Right.
but the uplighting, that's what I don't understand.
Right, I understand, but what I'm getting at is there are a lot of lighting fixtures that people put out on the coastal bank that isn't necessarily a place for people to walk or a safety thing. It's more for just
Yeah.
making it
Aesthetics.
look good, and that is destroying the habitat for the, for the wetland
Oh,
animals.
Alice is going to love our new project.
There you go.
I mean-
Not a better person you could give it to.
Yeah, you can give it
Yeah,
this too.
we will look into some, the effects of lighting, the
Here.
voltage and all of that, and, oh, that'd be awesome, that's a good start, and we can,
I mean, it's already been documented in a lot of places.
all right, I'll have them do some more research.
I know it's getting late, and I don't want to belabor this, but I agree you have a legitimate concern there, but I think what we've been doing, and I think reasonably successfully, is to deal with these issues on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
And I mean, in this situation, I think we've all been sensitive with low-voltage wiring and lighting paths, and, I think we're inclined, unless I'm misreading the rest of the board, to say, well, this is a great project, we'll approve the order, but we don't want to see you uplight the trees.
Yeah.
And that makes, that's a reasonable thing, because there is an environmental impact on that. And there's no real need for it from safety or anything else.
And we've done that down in Sipwisset on all those coastal banks, like the Morse
Oh,
residents and all those, yeah.
Absolutely.
I did have a note on mine about the Leland cypress,
You don't have to keep it if you don't.
because they show 3 of them down on the bank, in the I mean, right on the edge of the salt pond, and if, I mean, we just don't, they're not native. I mean, if they want them up by the house, I don't care, but, down, yeah, in the punch bowl, that area really shouldn't have Leland cypresses. I mean, they're basically planting, right, I mean, if that's, she's showing, Leland cypresses,
Where?
well, the way, she says plant 3 Leland cypresses. See them near the cobble border parking court, whatever that is? Down by the pond. She uses the same legend.
Are you on the front page or the?
I'm on the landscape one. But she shows on the legend,
All right, which landscape page?
no, I only have one. Oh, maybe it's 2, it's one, sorry, one.
That one, okay, 1.
And
Parking
it-
court,
But she has existing evergreen trees to remain, and then the proposed, and they're exactly the same thing. See what it says in the existing evergreen to remain, and then proposed evergreen. And the proposed is a Leland, and they're the exact same tree. So I can't tell. Maybe you can figure it out.
I mean, that's not a good that's not a good thing to put that close to the water anyway.
And I can't find the 3
Too much
new ones,
exposure. I
and
know,
5
like
new
it.
ones she's talking about, because they're, see the legend? These
It's the
two?
same.
They're the same, and that one's darker than this one, but this is like fine Waldo. Well, how about no Leland cypresses in the A buffer? How's that? That would be so much
That
easier.
goes, if they're outside the A buffer,
No Lelands in the A buffer.
no uplighting, no Leland in A buffer.
Well,
There you
and the privet was another issue. She said that it's not invasive. Do you think the California privet, I mean, I don't see it in a lot of places invasive, and then in other places I do. It depends on what's underneath. Again, no, how about no privet in the A buffer? I don't think I don't know where it is, because again, it gets really difficult.
It's all right.
It gives me a headache.
I got it coming up
Got it.
all my yard.
A buffer, all right.
And I think
On my patio.
we can't really discuss this letter because we already closed the hearing.
Yeah, you can't discuss that.
No.
Something separate.
Mark and I have
Yeah.
to go out there and look at it.
That's what I figured.
Something
Okay.
separate.
Then with the changes we discussed, to accept as discussed.
Okay, so motion by Maury, and a second by Jamie. Any other discussion on 11 Arnold?
Sure. Got a good one.
Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions? Unanimous, so moved.
It's really.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Second.
Jamie, second by Maury. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. We're adjourned.